What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Ecom Academy channel. In today's video, we're going to be talking about MOQs and how many units to order for your product inventory order for your Amazon FBA business or brand. So honestly, there's a very simple way to answer this question, and it really depends on your budget. I would say that for the vast majority of people, the range is going to be between 200 units and 1,000 units. Now, I would say that maybe like 400 units to start, 500 units to start is really ideal because that gives you, a month and a half worth of selling from when you start. You don't have to risk too much capital just in case your product that fails, right? But obviously, if you're watching my videos, we're doing everything to mitigate that. However, failure is still possible in business, right? So you obviously have to be ready for that as an entrepreneur. If you're working in a remote job in the Amazon space and you're working for a brand, then the chances of failure, more or less, probably less because it's an existing brand and they already have the brand assets and things like that. So you're probably launching a product obviously in the same niche. So there's already existing customers and things, but still. The question is how many units to order. So we're going to show a couple scenarios here. So scenario number one is, let's say that you're ordering a product that's $5 per unit. Okay, so it's $5 per unit EXW. EXW stands for X Works, and that is the price of a unit of a product for your supplier to manufacture it and just leave it at the door basically. And then you have to figure out how to get a freight forwarder and ship it to the United States or your destination Amazon country where you're going to sell. Let's say it's $5 per unit. Okay, well, you don't want to order only 100 or 200 units. Let's say what you're going to do when you're doing your supplier search, you're going to ask them for what the minimum amount of units you can order is to actually be able to private label it. So private labeling a product means putting your brand name on it and getting custom packaging. And that's very important on Amazon, or else you're just going to be selling a no-name brand product and you're not going to be able to really build a brand. Building a brand is really important because that's how you make money in the long term. That's how you build an asset. So that's really key. So let's say $5 a unit. And let's say your supplier says that the MOQ is 250 units. Sometimes they'll say 500. I will warn you that the MOQs that you see on Alibaba, they're not always accurate. Everything is negotiable with Chinese and Asian suppliers. Absolutely everything. You can contact a supplier, even if it says 1,000 MOQ on Alibaba, you can contact them and say, okay, what is the absolute lowest MOQ for a private label order? They might say 500, and you can definitely get them down to 250. Chinese suppliers, you'd be shocked. They're very, very malleable in what they can do for you, but you just have to prove to them one thing. The most important thing is that you are there for a long-term, mutually beneficial relationship, meaning that they make money, you make money. Not just you make money, they don't make money. They make money, you make money. Your supplier is the most important gear of your business, because if your supplier is not happy, they will screw you over, unfortunately. They will make sure that they cut costs somewhere, the product arrives, you're missing units, or the weld is broken. That happened to me. It happens, right? So keep your supplier happy. My point is that even if the MOQs on Alibaba say 500 or 1,000 units, you can still request a lower MOQ and they will give it to you, right? So let's say that in this case, they're willing to do a 250 minimum order of units, but should you order 250 units? And that really depends on how long you think that it will last you, right? So you want to account for about a month of sales from the time that you launch. And obviously that's impossible to tell. There's no way to tell for sure, how long it's going to take you to sell out of your inventory. However, you can have a pretty good intuitive feeling about it, right? Let's say that you decide to order 500 units at $5. So that means that your first order is going to be $2,500, which means that let's say your competitors are selling 20, 30 units a day on average. You might start selling at like 3-5 units a day. And then within a few weeks or a month, you might go up to 10, 15, right? Sometimes Amazon products, they'll explode within a few weeks. Sometimes it takes a little longer, like 2 months, 2.5 months to get situated. But even then, you're still selling out. The biggest problem happens when you get your product in. There's really two. The first scenario is if you get your product in, you ordered 500 units, and then you're selling a few units a day, and then suddenly within 2 weeks or 3 weeks or really quickly, you're selling a lot of units per day. Your product just gets ranked. Everybody loves it. Now, that it can happen. It doesn't always happen. Obviously, it's ideal, but then you run out of stock very quickly. Let's say if you start selling 30 units a day, you're going to be out of that 500 units in about 15 days, right? Something like 15 to 20 days, right? But then the second scenario can happen where you order 500 units and your product is barely making any sales. It's taking time. You're only doing like 2-3 units a day. Then it's going to take you, it could take you 100, 200 days to sell out. Obviously, that's not ideal. And then you have a failed product, especially for the lower price points. 250 to 500 units, I would say, is the ideal. You don't want to go for 1,000. The supplier will always try to push you for 1,000 units, but it's really not ideal for you as a seller because you want to do this all with calculated risks. You want to maximize your upside. You want to minimize your downside. Your downside being the risk. So that's the upfront money you're putting in, which is the amount of units that you're ordering, right? And because there's never a guarantee in life, nobody has a crystal lamp. Nobody has a crystal ball or a genie's lamp. Nobody can tell, hey, for sure this is going to succeed or not. Even with the best videos that I make and everything else, nobody can tell. And so that's why 1,000 units, I wouldn't, right? right? You should try your best not to, and it's going to take some serious negotiation to do that. I'm actually going to put out a negotiation guide on this channel as well as on my Dan Vast channel. On this channel, this is like my platform for e-commerce education. Dan Vast is more of a personal take, and we cover just online business in general as well as other business models as well. I don't only do e-commerce, but negotiation is key. So I'm going to put that out here. I'm also doing live mentorship sessions every single Saturday. You can ask me any questions that you want about Amazon and getting into this business, whether that's starting your Amazon business right now in 2024 the right way, or whether that's getting a remote job. So if we go back to our scenario, $5 per unit, ordering 500 is going to cost 2,500. And then let's say you add on shipping on top of that. Let's say that, it's average shipping. Let's say that it's going to cost you like, an extra $2,000 for shipping. Okay, so 4.5K, that's how much it's going to cost you for your first product. It's a 4.5K investment. So now we have to look at it like this. What are the odds of success and what are the odds of failure? Well, if you did all your product research correctly and, you really put in the work and, you followed a really, really good course and you got the product approved by somebody who does a lot of money on Amazon, somebody, who's a reputable mentor, then your chances obviously are higher. And so you basically checkmarked every single box you could checkmark, you got your product validated. So at that point, what happens is that the only thing that can go wrong is just, sheer bad luck, right? And obviously business success is a mix of, the right product, enough money to start, the right timing, and good luck, right? Obviously. So all of those things have to align. But if you keep showing up and you keep trying, eventually you're going to catch all of those and you will taste success and you will taste that joy that awaits you if you don't give up. The worst case scenario is if you buy a bunch of units, like 1,000 units, and then they get into the warehouse and you're not really selling, you've tried everything, you're spending a lot of money in PPC, people don't really want the product. If that happens, you really didn't do your product research correctly, honestly. Some of the most common things that people miss or get wrong are they choose a product with not enough demand, or they try to improve a product, but the improvements are wrong. They'll choose a product that you're trying to compete against like huge brands, the brands that are like, really established like L'Oreal or Coppertone or things you'd find at Walmart, on the regular counter. Another mistake that people would make is choosing a product that is just too basic, too gimmicky, a commodity product. A commodity product is something that's like, a set of paper cups, right? It doesn't make a difference if Billy or Al sells it. Whereas, for example, for a coffee press, people do look at brands for coffee presses. People, they care. For example, me, I'm a big coffee drinker. I really like Bodum French presses. They're really good. I always mention this example because, coffee is very important to me. It's the same thing for like cigars. I like tobacco and specifically cigars because I just don't like, cigarettes and it's kind of gross feeling in the lungs. But cigars I find are just incredible, and I find that honestly a joy. I feel bad for anybody who does not get to enjoy fine tobacco in their life. And so with cigars, basically I care about the brand. I really do. I care about where it comes from. I care about the name of the cigar. I care about like the brand name of it. For example, in the cigar world, Cohiba, A. Chapman, Hoyo de Monterrey, like some of these brands, they're the best ones out there versus, for example, a backwoods that you find in the gas station, right? It's just incomparable. So that is the difference between a commodity product and a branded product. We only sell branded products on Amazon. If you do your research correctly and you are responsible, you're not reckless. Remember, you want to be responsible and not reckless, then, you're going to get it right at some point, right? I can't promise you that, but it's just logic, right? If you don't give up, there's just no way to fail. But the key is just to be responsible, to get all your check boxes checked. Right now, we're working on an incredible course, the best I've ever made, called Amazon Pro. It's going to be released at the end of the summer. It's going to be super affordable, like a few $100. Honestly, most affordable course I've ever made. And it's going to be the best too. It's going to have every single thing you need to build a successful Amazon business, but not only a business, but also if you want how to get an Amazon FBA remote job, how to get a job in the space so you can save up money and gain experience and then use that to start your brand, and also how to do Amazon consulting or start an e-commerce agency. So stay tuned for that. For now, you can gain access to our free crash course in which you can actually learn how to get started right now so that you're not waiting. And in there, you also get access to a free community that you become a lifetime member of, where you can network with other people that are interested in the space, that are interested in achieving freedom and independence and going remote successfully, and kind of starting to live the digital freedom lifestyle, right? So that's all in the link down below. So the truth is, an MOQ, it's just something that suppliers need for to be able to private label your product. And usually the right range is 250 to 500 units. I would not recommend 1,000 units or more. If you're going for more expensive products that are like, $20 or $30 a unit, obviously, ordering 500 units of a $30 product is going to cost like $15,000. So that's not ideal. The ideal amount of starting capital you want to put in, your first order should be about 3 to 5K, maybe 6, no more than that, even if you have more money, right? I would not recommend it. There's no reason why you can't put in 3 to 6 or 3 to 5K and turn that into, a very, very functional, profitable business that, does 5 figures, 6 figures, and then later scale it. Okay. Pretty much every single successful founder has done that. Most founders did not start with $50,000. You can even read in the Jungle Scout State of the Seller report, you can see the average amount of money people have used to start, and it's definitely below $10,000. You can see that in the report. I'll put the link down below to the report. You can see some very good stats there that should be very motivating for you to enter this space. Thank you so much for watching. Tune into my live mentorship call every Saturday, 2 p.m. Eastern. You can ask me questions, and also I'll see you in the crash course. Link is down below, and I'll also announce Amazon Pro at the end of the summer. Thank you so much, and I can't wait for you to achieve freedom.